know that there is a syllabus of net, but from your side, what are the topics that you would recommend that we specially cover as to?
I already asked my question regarding preparation and you answered it very well. But the one challenge that I would like to confess here and I would like to know your opinion is that I am currently in my final semester of my master's. So half of my day, like my entire day goes into attending classes till evening and then handling my research project. So, and again, I target to clear JRF in first attempt, so I find it very unrealistic sometimes. So, how can I manage this, like attending regular college with preparation?
Previously there were basic questions that were touched in Buddhism, but recently questions pertaining to different school of thoughts in Buddhism and more, I mean, questions not just about different schools, but basic concepts, the differences between basic concepts followed by each school were asked. Now that becomes a very challenging question.
Mr. Vishal Goel and Mr. Amit Pawar. Mr. Vishal Goel is a counseling psychologist and a certified career coach and corporate trainer. He has qualified the UGC NET exam in 2018. We also have with us Mr. Amit Pawar, who is a psychologist and is currently pursuing PhD from the University of Delhi. He has also qualified UGC NET, and in fact, he has done so 3 times in the year 2018, June 2019, and December 2019. Both Amit sir and Vishal sir, they are the founders of Power Within. We welcome you both, sir. So we'll just start our session by addressing some common questions with respect to the UGC NET exam. So my first question is to Amit sir. Basically, can you give us a brief overview as to what is the NET exam and just a brief introduction about it?
Bilkul. If it is completely fine with everybody, may I request everyone to kindly switch on their videos, whoever can.
Actually, we've disabled that because
Acha. Okay.
yeah, so they can
Okay,
write in
sure.
the chat box. They'll be interacting with us.
Okay, surely. Bilkul. So, hello everyone. My name is Amit Pawar, and I thank Harshita for the introduction. And I'm really glad, to hear Harshita's voice. And it's really wonderful कि आज हर्षिता ने इंट्रोडक्शन दिया है. And believe me, ये सेशन मेरे लिए काफी इम्पोर्टेंट सेशन रहेगा. So thank you so much, Harshita, for that. And so talking about UGC NET JRF exam, I'll simply say that so UGC basically is University Grant Commission, and UGC oversees roles and responsibilities pertaining to universities, higher education, and all the roles and responsibilities related to that. And one of the major tasks of UGC is to responsibly conduct an exam called UGC NET JRF exam. UGC because it is conducted by UGC. NET means National Eligibility Test. It means that this exam, NET exam, is an exam for a certain eligibility. That means after clearing this exam, you will be eligible for something. That means National Eligibility Test. After this test, you would be eligible at the national level to become an assistant professor. Now, only one exam is conducted, and this exam basically provides two kinds of candidates. One candidate are those who qualifies UGC NET JRF, and second, there are candidates who qualify UGC NET. It is one single exam where some of the high rankers are given a chance for JRF. JRF means Junior Research Fellowship. That means JRF is basically a designation where you are paid monthly for doing research in higher education. For example, at MPhil and PhD level. So UGC NET JRF exam is a national level eligibility exam, entrance exam that provides candidates eligibility to become assistant professors in any central university in India and also state universities that follow UGC NET entrance exam. Also, some top scorers of this exam are awarded along with UGC NET the fellowship of JRF. The JRF fellowship is a scholarship amount, and if you get admission into PhD or MPhil program, then you can cash this fellowship to receive a monthly scholarship. So I guess we are clear with the exam. UGC NET JRF exam is one exam. It basically provides candidates with an opportunity, number one, to become assistant professors in India. For example, if you want to teach students in universities at bachelor's level, at master's level, at PhD level, then you would need minimum you have qualified your UGC NET exam. And if you wish to become a research scholar or pursue research at higher education level, that means at the level of MPhil and PhD, then you can also receive JRF fellowship by giving the same exam and scoring higher. For example, students who secure 65% and above, say for example, let's take an example. So this is student A, this is student B. Student A gave the exam in December, say any cycle in December, and this person also gave same exam. So they both gave UGC NET JRF exam. This person secured 61% in their exam, and this person secured 66% in their exams. So when results came, UGC announced that the cutoff for JRF would be 65% and the cutoff for NET would be 60% for general category, for example. And both these people are from general category. Then this person who secured 66% and the cutoff for JRF is 65%. Therefore, this person will get a letter of JRF award. That means after getting JRF, if this person gets into a PhD or MPhil program within 2 years from the date of this result, this person can cash in the JRF opportunity. That means this person, after getting into PhD, will receive a stipend of 40,000 around per month for a maximum period of 5 years. This another person, he only secured 61% and he could not meet the JRF criteria. That means he could not qualify to 65%, but he did qualify the UGC NET criteria, which was 60%. Therefore, this person has cleared the NET exam and this person is now eligible for becoming assistant professor in India. The B person who scored 66% must have also scored 61%. That means they have qualified 2 percentages, one for UGC NET, one for JRF. So they are eligible for assistant professorship, plus they have another benefit of getting scholarships if they wish to pursue research in higher education. So this is one exam, UGC NET exam, that provides two eligibility. Other than this, clearing UGC NET JRF exam, these are the, you can say, the most popular and basic benefits of clearing the UGC NET JRF exam. Some other benefits include, for example, in 2018, yes, in January of 2019, I cleared my interview for UGC project fellowship opportunity at University of Delhi. So for 1 year, I was the project fellow for a research project which was conducted by Department of Psychology, University of Delhi, but funded by University Grant Commission. Now for this program, there was a basic criteria that people who have qualified UGC NET exam will receive a higher monthly stipend than students who have not qualified UGC NET exam. So another benefit for UGC NET exam is that for research opportunities, a person who has cleared their UGC NET exams, they receive higher stipends than students who have not completed their UGC NET exam, who have not cleared their UGC NET exam. Another thing, for example, A, who has now cleared UGC NET exam with 61%, and student B, who has cleared UGC NET JRF with 66%. Imagine they both get into PhD. Now, this student who has only cleared UGC NET and this student who has cleared UGC NET and JRF will have two options to get into any PhD program, or should I say, into getting most of the PhD programs in India. So they have two opportunities. Any person who does not have any benefit with them, they'll have to give an entrance exam for PhD. And after clearing that exam, they'll have to sit for an interview. And after clearing the interview, they'll get into their PhD. This is the basic criteria all over India. Now, if somebody has qualified UGC NET and if somebody has qualified UGC NET JRF, also there is this third person, person 3, who has not qualified NET, who has not qualified JRF, but they have completed their MPhil, or they are about to complete their MPhil in clinical psychology. All three people, person who has cleared UGC NET, person who has cleared JRF, and the person who is about to complete or has completed their MPhil in psychology, in clinical psychology, then all these people, if they want, they can skip the entrance exam and directly sit for the interview of PhD. They'll have to fill the registration form, that is for sure. Otherwise, how will the university know that you wish to pursue their program? After that, if they have cleared UGC NET, they have completed their MPhil, or they have qualified JRF, they can skip the entrance exam and they can directly sit for the PhD interview. So in my 2018, till then, I had not qualified my UGC NET exam. So I had to give my PhD in psychology entrance exam for Delhi University. My friends who have also qualified NET at that time, they were given an option to skip the entrance exam. And almost everybody took that option and directly sat for the interview. Additional thing that I would like to tell all of you here is, we believe that because most of the students who wish to pursue PhD, they believe that clearing NET exam is an easier option to get into PhD. As an additional tip, I would like to inform you that if you have qualified JRF, then there is a higher chance and there is a higher preference for you in the PhD interviews, because number of students who have qualified JRF are less in comparison to number of students who have qualified NET. Therefore, this person A who has only cleared UGC NET, when this person skips the entrance exam and directly sits for the interview, then the number of seats in a PhD program are less. Therefore, say for example, there are only 5 seats. Let's imagine there are 5 seats for students who would come via UGC NET category. That means they have qualified the UGC NET exam, they have skipped their entrance and they are eligible for interview, and only 5 students can be selected. Then the number of candidates who would apply for this post would be very high. Imagine 250, 350 students struggling for 5 seats of UGC NET. There would be, say for example, 25 to 35 students who would be struggling for JRF seats. Therefore, if you want to pursue PhD with entrance and with directly with interview, both have their own challenges. That is what I wanted to add here. Other benefits for UGC NET exam is that if this person A who has qualified UGC NET exam, this person, if he wishes, can also apply for basically for government-owned organizations. For example, what are the government-owned organizations? For example, Bharat Petroleum, for example, GAIL, Oil India Limited. These are the organizations that are majorly owned by government. All these organizations have their own procedures to select candidates for various posts in their organizations. Students who have qualified UGC NET in psychology have the benefit of directly becoming eligible to sitting in the interview for these posts. So, for example, GAIL would bring out an advertisement saying anybody who has qualified UGC NET exam in this subject is eligible to sit for the interview of this post. If you clear that cutoff, if you are selected after the interview, then you can are directly part of the government-owned organization. I mean, you're working there. So these are some of the benefits that clearing UGC NET JRF exam has. Another benefit is organizations such as DRDO, such as NCRT, such as ICSSR that majorly oversees research in various different fields in India. There, they are always requiring people who has a background in psychology and has a sound knowledge in research. They are looking for those individuals, plus they have qualified UGC NET exam. So UGC NET exam becomes a major criteria for joining major Indian organizations like NCRT, DRDO, ICSSR, and other similar organizations. So this is the basic brief of what the UGC NET JRF exam is, plus what are the benefits of clearing the UGC NET exam and UGC NET JRF exam. Last thing in this introduction of the exam, I would like to add that recently many organizations are also giving similar treatment to students who have qualified GATE exam. Since last year, IITs have also included Masters in Psychology program in various sub-disciplines of psychology at IITs, for which clearing GATE exam is a minimum requirement. So students who have qualified GATE exam are also eligible to many benefits except becoming eligible for assistant professorship. I mean the benefits related to research, related to jobs. Most of the organizations are also giving same recognition to the GATE exam. So DRDO announced that they would also give similar level of recognition and eligibility to GATE students as they have given to NET students. So these are some of the benefits related to UGC NET JRF exam. So this was it from my side for the basic introduction part.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a beautiful introduction. I think our participants got a brief overview, a very holistic picture as to, what is the net exam and basically what is the importance of the net exam. So that was a very wonderful overview. My next question is to Vishal sir. We all know that there is a syllabus of NET, but from your side, what are the topics that you would recommend that we specially cover as students? So, what are those topics? Can you throw light on those topics?
जी अर्शिता जी मेरी आवाज क्लियर है वैसे
Yes.
should I start? So thank you for the question. Um, I think a student who is aspiring for NET, at least not going to JRF for now, but at least NET, they should strictly stick to the syllabus, first of all. There are a lot of things. For example, let's say if I might have read organizational psychology a lot in in my master's, but that's not the major crunch in NET. That's not what they ask mostly. That's not the higher percentage of it. Maybe a couple of questions, maybe one or two questions related to whether leadership or power or any other thing, but not more than that. So you should know that some parts are also missing in the next syllabus. Stick very specifically to the syllabus, and there are very unique parts which are available in the net. And I just saw yesterday also in one or two exam, and there were yes, there was this PhD admissions from Flame University, which was started 7 days or 10 days back, and now they refer their entrance syllabus to the NET or GATE exam of psychology. So, in this sense, our next syllabus has some elements which are not available in whether in MPhil clinical psychology or maybe in masters. So, if you look at the unit one, there are clear mentions of topics related to Indian psychology. If you go to unit 10, so when they updated the syllabus and mentioned the unit 10 applications, emerging areas, that was something new. And actually, in 2019 or in 2020's paper, there were some questions which came specifically from this unit. I know for a fact because I analyzed the paper. There were average number of questions which came from this unit 10. I won't say a lot, but average number of questions. Now, do I mean by average number of questions? So, unit 10 had, I think, around 7 to 8 questions, or maybe more than that, but not less than that. So that's a good amount of questions. It basically means that you are having around 8, let's say, numbers or marks dependent on that unit. It's difficult to find those topics. It's difficult to study those topics. The first thing you need to do is you need to stick to the syllabus. And we're not talking about strategy, but I'll just mention that when you stick to the syllabus, start from your strongest points. Why? Because you need to feel good to continue. You cannot start from a loose, demotivate yourself, and then be like, मुझसे होगा या नहीं होगा. You start from your strength, your strongest points, stick to the syllabus. And when you refer to the syllabus, there are some units which are very important, and Amitji would also comment on this. Definitely, he would share his learnings. I just say that when you prioritize these topics, the research and statistics is something that should be on the top, that must be on the top. Why? You have two paragraph based questions and around 20 questions. That it can be 15 also, but let me say around 20 questions, and I'm not taking the paper one right now. If you prepare RM and stats for paper two, automatically you prepare for the research aptitude for paper one. So it's actually 20 for paper two, but it can get to 30 to 40 questions on research aptitude, research and statistics. That should be your first priority. Then you come to general psychology, which includes very core topics of psychology, including memory, learning, intelligence, thinking, attention, perception, personality, emotion. They're different units, but I'm just taking the important topics out of them. Personality, emotion, motivation, social psychology. These, I think, should be on the second priority. And on the third priority, what we do is we all have read history of psychology and everything, but that we need to understand a lot of questions in UGC net. If you look at the previous year papers, are coming randomly. You cannot prepare for them definitely, but what you should do is to read about psychology concepts in a way that you know who gave this theory, what was the concept. So in that sense, I won't say read history of psychology and third priority, but I would say that try to understand how much you know about the test, about the concepts, about the researchers, about their books, and you start from the basic. In your masters, you have read basic, you know, usual and general researchers, names, psychologists, and their work. That's good. But is that the whole of psychology? No. Try to find information based on that more and more. Personality, you stop the personality maybe on Freud, Jung, then go into new psychoanalytical perspectives, and then you come to behavioral approach. But then there are object relations theory, and it is possible that we might have studied that in graduate and post graduation, but we might not remember it now. What was their concept and what was their what were even the researchers? Horney and these all peoples who came after Freud, they are very important. And you would see in the net papers also that these kind of questions really put us on the edge. Because we try to remember where it is from. In this sense, now what you need to do, you need to read those topics, but also look at psychology from a holistic perspective. In the sense, you have to go beyond your limits of masters now, slowly and gradually. And this can only happen when you start reading about it. For example, if you are reading about Jung, and while reading him, if there is a person, Campbell comes in, it's not like that, it's not in my next syllabus or yeah, आएगा नहीं. To prepare for it, it's important that you have this curiosity. Who is Campbell? Let's go and read about it. So you have the syllabus, but these are my suggestions that approach the syllabus in this way. These three things need to be very clear to you before you start. First, that you cannot skip research and statistics. A lot of people would like to do that, but you cannot. It should be a top first priority. Second, strategize, schedule, make a schedule on how you cover the strongest part of you. And I think for most people, that would be general psychology, as I said. And third point is, while you do these two things, don't limit yourself. Understand, or I would say, पढ़ लो पहले नेट के पेपर्स क्या क्वेश्चन कैसे आते हैं पर्सनालिटी का अगर वो मैच द फॉलोइंग आ जाता है तो सिर्फ ये नहीं होता कि भाई उसमें फ्रॉइड ही आएगा उसमें बिहेवियरिस्ट ही आएंगे दो तीन जो हमने पढ़े उसमें मायो भी आ जाएगा तो इस तरीके से आपको अपने होराइजन्स को एक्सपैंड करना है। जी।
थैंक यू सो मच सर। आई थिंक स्टूडेंट्स के लिए सबसे प्रोमिनेंट जो क्वेश्चन होता है जब वो पूरा नेट का सिलेबस जब देखते हैं तो वो यही बोलते हैं कि अब इतना सारा है, इसमें से पढ़ना क्या है। सो आई थिंक दैट यू कवर्ड दिस पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन वेरी ब्यूटिफुली. Amit sir, can you please guide us with respect to the exam structure and the cutoff? If you can give us a bit of a detail about that.
बिल्कुल. So the structure of the exam is such. Currently, so the coming exams and all the exams, I'm sharing the structure for that. So the exam would be a computer-based test. A computer-based test means that you would all be assigned a center. You'll have to go to that center on the given date and time that would be mentioned in the admit card, and there would be computer systems in front of you. You would be given a login ID and a password. You'll have to put that in, and then you'll have to start the exam. So the exam has 150 questions, from which 50 questions are from paper 1 and 100 questions are from paper 2. There are 10 units in paper 1 that are pertaining to the general aptitude of students. So the general aptitude syllabus basically includes topics like teaching aptitude, where questions related to the teaching environment, the students, the learner characteristics, the teachers and their teaching skills and abilities, and the different tools, methods, pedagogy styles that are used in education. Or this is, say, for example, teaching aptitude. Then there is research aptitude, where basic questions related to research are asked, where different methodologies, different tools, or the questions related to that would be asked. Then related to higher education, where questions related to the different programs that are available in India related to higher education, and how is everyone approaching the idea of higher education, that is the current affairs, the current events that are there related to higher education, plus the history of higher education. Then logical reasoning, mathematical reasoning, and data interpretation, communication, all these different types of topics are available in paper 1. And in paper 1, you need to understand that units that are found to be easy by majority of students are, that is, teaching aptitude unit, research aptitude unit, logical reasoning, other than that, information and communication technology. So these are some of the units, and comprehension part. I have not seen enough students focusing enough time on comprehension. So these are some of the units that are perceived as easy in paper 1. Then there is paper 2 that also has 10 units in its, sorry, I'll first ask the challenging units that students find in paper 1. So one of the most challenging units, that is, the unit that is perceived as the most challenging by psychology students is the data interpretation unit. In data interpretation, you are given a certain set of data. It might be in a tabular form, it might be in a graph form, and then you would be asked questions, 5 questions related to that. This is the unit where psychology students lacks a lot. Other than this would be the mathematical reasoning part. Then it would be people and development part, where questions related to pollution, where questions related to development and people are asked. So these are 2, and even higher education is considered to be a challenging unit by many students because the content to read is quite a lot. But the questions that are asked in higher education, then it becomes more generic and more current. And the content that is available for higher education is more static. It's more about history, methods, and different things. So these 3 units are considered to be challenging. So from paper 1, there are 10 units. From each unit, it is confirmed for sure by the UGC net that 5 questions from each unit would be asked. 10 units, 5 questions each, makes a total of 50 marks. Basic time for 50 questions is given 1 hour. But now, because the exam is computer-based exam, so you are able to switch between the exams during your exam. Therefore, the limit to 1 paper is not as important as it was before when it was paper and pen exam. Another thing is, now we'll come to the second part of the entrance exam, that is paper 2. Paper 2 has 10 units. I'll briefly cover the 10 units if it is fine. So unit 1 is emergence of psychology. In emergence of psychology, there are basically 2 major focuses. One is the Eastern systems, where Bhagavad Gita, Sufism, Integral Yoga, and their Buddhism and their paradigms. Questions related to these are asked. The second part of unit 1 is the history of psychology, not just in India. History of psychology in India as well as internationally. So we'll start from academic psychology in India, then we'll also move to the Western psychological systems that have evolved and the different paradigms and the systems used in psychology now. So unit 1 is not considered to be a challenging unit. It's just that the unit becomes a little too theoretical. Because of which, other second challenge that I have found, so we were Vishal and I, we were recently updating our UGC Net JRF book. So currently it was on edition 1, and we are bringing on February 14th, we are bringing the edition 2 of the book. And while we were updating the book, we realized that the depth of questions asked in Eastern systems from unit 1 was way too high. For example, previously there were basic questions that were touched in Buddhism, but recently questions pertaining to different school of thoughts in Buddhism and more, questions not just about different schools, but basic concepts, the differences between basic concepts followed by each school were asked. Now that becomes a very challenging question, because when student has given so much of time for unit 1, and when they realize that, I spent so much of time and I was not able to give answer for this Buddhism question, and I studied Buddhism so well, it becomes demotivating for students. Therefore, I would recommend students for unit 1 is that study unit 1 rigorously, work hard, but if there are questions that comes out of syllabus means syllabus that was covered by you, and questions were asked from other deviant topics that you either missed, did not cover, but you worked hard on unit 1. So do not get discouraged with that. Do not get discouraged with certain questions in previous year papers. The best thing that a person can do in units like unit 1 and unit 10, as Vishalji said, that unit 10 is also another unit that was recently introduced, the emerging areas part. So unit 1 and unit 2, sometimes you prepare a lot, you work hard a lot, and yet deviant questions are there. That is one of the reasons why students become discouraged in both these units. Therefore, I would recommend all of you that when you look at previous year questions and whatever concepts or topics are asked, study about them. Because in your preparation, you have time. One of the biggest factors that you have is time, because you're preparing. You don't have to score high in your practice sets. You have to score high in your exam. Therefore, don't get discouraged in your preparation. Number two, if you prepared well in Unit 1 and Unit 10, and if you worked hard, you studied all the concepts from previous year as well, and still were not able to answer questions, that still questions became deviant, then do not be discouraged. There are more units to prepare from. So this was Unit 1. It's a challenging unit because it's too theoretical, plus the depth is high in Unit 1. Then the most important units, as said by Vishalji, Unit 2 and Unit 3, that is research methodology and psychological testing. These are one of the most important units in the history of UGC and JRF exam. And whenever you would talk to somebody and ask for guidance, you would always hear Unit 2 and Unit 3. Why? Because the concept, the best thing about Unit 2 and Unit 3 is you know the topics. You know this is my ground, and yet we are not able to answer questions. In Unit 1, the challenge is that we do not know how much is the ground. And one of the best part about Unit 2 and Unit 3, we know how much is the ground. But we perceive research, stats, and testing to be difficult and challenging. And that is why even before preparation, many students psychologically assume that it would be a challenging unit. It is challenging. And I'm not denying that it is not challenging. It is challenging. But it cannot be challenging before you even have started it. So with Unit 2 and Unit 3, I would recommend look at the previous year questions and cover each and every topic given in the syllabus. As Vishalji said, stick to the syllabus. Even some questions are asked out of the syllabus. Don't give a damn to those questions. You don't have to focus on one or two questions. You have to focus on majority of questions. So stick to the syllabus for Unit 2 and 3 and cover everything in that. Go to as much length and depth as you can, and do not rely 100% on a single source for Unit 2 and 3. Expand your horizon, study more, prepare more. Now, another unit is biological basis of behavior, which is a big unit. A big unit with a lot of terminologies, with a lot of challenging concepts. Actual में जो एक चैलेंजिंग यूनिट कहा जाना चाहिए वो यूनिट 4 को कहा जाना चाहिए, क्योंकि बायोलॉजिकल बेसिस ऑफ बिहेवियर में नाम याद रखना, और काफी बार क्या होता है कि बुक में लिखा होता है ये चीज, पर एग्जाम में हम वो मार्क कर वो गलत लिखा आ जाता है काफी बार, क्योंकि बायोलॉजिकल बेसिस ऑफ बिहेवियर में अपडेट भी होती रहती है, कंटेंट रिसर्चेज अपडेट होती रहती है. लेकिन ट्रस्ट योर बुक, ट्रस्ट योर कॉन्सेप्ट, डोंट स्टिक टू दैट वन और टू ऑफ दोस क्वेश्चन. इस यूनिट में आपको एक्चुअल में ग्राफ्स बना के काम करना पड़ेगा, किस पार्ट का क्या काम है, और ये अगर इसमें एलिमेंट आ जाएगा तो ऐसी दिक्कत आएगी, ये होगा वो होगा. डायग्राम्स, टेबल्स, ये सारी चीजें की हो जाती है यूनिट 4 बायोलॉजिकल बेसिस ऑफ बिहेवियर में. यूनिट 5 इज द इजीएस्ट यूनिट, विच इज लर्निंग, memory, perception, and forgetting. And the biggest challenge with this unit students face is that it's the easiest unit. So therefore, they do not focus on many of those topics. So in Unit 2, I would request you all to cover all the theories and concepts that are mentioned in the syllabus. Another is Unit 6, that is thinking, intelligence and creativity, out of which theories. It is very important for all of you to know that if you are preparing for the exam and if you are a candidate for these exams, have your own separate list for the different theories that are there in each unit. And as Vishalji pointed out, know who gave this theory. What are the key elements of these theories? It's not, it would not be beneficial if you just know the basic tenet of the theory. You need to know everything in that theory. I mean, It's a competitive exam. In competitive exam, you need to have edge in your exam. And you can only have that edge if you know where you stand right now. If you are standing in the middle of the roof and you're talking about edge, that is not what I'm saying. You need to know your strengths, you need to prepare well, and then find your edge, extra things that you can do in that unit. So separately write down all the theories, who gave it, when it was given, why it was given, what was the theory, what were the limitations of the theory, and such that. So I never said that the preparation for UGC NET JRF exam would be easy one. But if done with discipline, I'm not a very disciplined person in my life. But every exam that I cleared, believe me, it was only done with discipline. So I had to set aside all of my alasya and had to work hard to be disciplined. There was even a time when on my table I had to write down discipline because my current supervisor, she said, Amit, you're not disciplined at all. Can you sit straight for like 1 hour? I mean, and not have stuffs going on in your mind. So during your preparation, you must have dreams of your exams. That is how you know that you are committed. I still remember Harshita when she was preparing for the exam and how sincere she was towards the exam. Looking at her sincerity, I was amazed. Now, the best part about Vishal's strategy towards exam is that he's a highly focused person, very opposite to me. I'm not a focused person. I'm a very moody person when it comes to discipline and focus. Therefore, I'd like to say it out loud that competitive exams are much easier for Vishal than for people like me. Why? Because students who have a personality like Vishal's, they are more focused. They are disciplined naturally. And you need to know who you are. Therefore, your work should now not be to become more disciplined if you have a personality like Vishal. Your energy now should be to cover more grounds, to do more test papers, more theory. For people like me, the biggest challenge becomes to be disciplined. So if you have a personality who does not follow timetables, who does not have that kind of a strong mindset to be disciplined, I would highly recommend all of you to first work on that disciplined part. Just take a week, take a month if you have to, and then become disciplined and then begin your preparation. So therefore, another thing that I would like to tell for everyone is that the key to cracking the exam is knowing who you are, your pattern of study. Now coming back to the units, Unit 6, Unit 7 are full of theories. Therefore, learn those theories, know those theories by heart, and have somebody whom you can recite back these theories. तो जितने अच्छे दोस्त हैं सबकी दोस्तियां यहीं पे टेस्ट करो, कॉल कर करके सबको थ्योरी समझाओ, नॉन साइकोलॉजी वाले को ज्यादा समझाओ. And then we have Unit 8, Social Psychology, which is a very good unit, a very interesting unit, and that is the very challenge of this unit. Most of the books that we use in social psychology to study social psychology are very theoretical, too elaborate. Even one book would be less for one topic. That is how the scope and the notions of social psychology are. Therefore, you need to have books that are more focused, that have more content in less pages. Those are the best books. And for social psychology, I would recommend that, and even for some parts of Unit 9, I would recommend that you read back from NCERT 11th and 12th. It has very concise information in too many pages. So that would be a good benefit to start with your preparation for Unit 8, Social Psychology, and Unit 9, Human Development and Intervention. Human Development and Intervention is officially the largest unit. It has the highest content in all of the units. So the another is Unit 9, where you'll just need to study hard for that. And then Unit 10, Emerging Areas, where again, it becomes a little too theoretical in approach. Therefore, look at the previous year questions and know what kind of questions were asked, and then come back to the theory. If any unit you feel is highly theoretical, go to the previous year question. That is the key to tackling theoretical questions. Other than this, the basic structure includes this syllabus, 150 questions. And as far as I remember, it's 3 hours for the exams. In 3 hours, you have to answer 150 questions of paper 1 and paper 2, 50 questions from paper 1, 100 questions from paper 2, and number of questions in each unit is not fixed in paper 2. So one unit can have, 20 questions can be asked from one unit, and then another units maybe 0 questions are asked from that unit, because UGC Net has not officially announced that the number of questions from each unit is fixed in paper 2. It was only announced for paper 1. So when you will see the previous year papers, you will find that maybe from some units only 1 question was asked and it was a big unit. And then some unit which was a small unit, 10 to 15 questions were asked. Number of questions, high number of questions are asked from unit 5, from unit 2. Learning, memory, perception, and the research and methodology part. Other than that, there is no negative marking for the exam. And it's a good experience for the exam. And I hope all of you prepare well and crack the exam. Cracking it is not the challenging part. Understanding yourself and covering the ground in whatever ways that you want. That is the key to this exam. So anything else do I need to share, Harshita, in the structure part?
No, I think you very well covered all of the structural aspect of it. I think that was very enlightening for our audience. We have a couple of questions for both of you that our audience has asked. So we will start to look at the different questions. Our first question, any of you can answer, is that I will just be scrolling and I will see. Yes, a very prominent question, and also this is also pertaining to myths. कई बार जब हम नेट साइकोलॉजी के एग्जाम की प्रिपरेशन करते हैं तो बहुत सारे लोग बोलते हैं कि हमें सब कुछ मतलब वी हैव टू कीप आवर लाइफ एट पॉज एंड ओनली देन प्रिपेयर फॉर द एग्जाम. So a candidate asked that how many months of preparation is ideal to clear net JRF, and if you can throw light on that.
If it is comfortable with Vishal, I'd like to answer this because it's a very good question. I feel it's a very interesting question. Thank you, Vishal. I'll tell you what. So I was in my master's, and as usual, to be very honest, I've been a bright student. Bright in the sense I was bright in my own mind. I was never bright to people around me. I've been more of a funky kind of a person. So I was not very well versed with what is UGC Net JRF exam. As I found some of the questions, some of the people, some of my friends, they knew everything about the exam. And I was like, is it because I was lacking somewhere in academics that I do not know such things about the exam? Because I was asking people around for questions like कैसे prepare करे भैया, मतलब कौन सी किताब लेनी चाहिए, कितने घंटे पढ़ूंगा तो मेरा पेपर क्लियर हो जाएगा, मतलब क्या करना चाहिए मुझे, इन सब सवालों के साथ में I was just running around from one person to another. And after a while I just somewhere felt like let me just buy one book which has all the syllabus and just start with it, because that is the first gut feeling that we all go with. Let's first buy a book that has all the syllabus in it. I did that. So I bought Arihant at that time because that was the only book in the market that was doing well. Arihant and Truman were the 2 key books. Right now we have Arihant, Upkar, Truman, and we have Power Within Psychology's book. But at that time, this was not the case. So I bought Arihant book. I also bought Truman. I was like, अरे भाई अगर ज्ञान लेना ही है तो एक से क्यों 2 किताबों से लेंगे. ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस होता है सब में. मैंने कहा 2 किताबों से लेंगे. I bought Truman, I bought Arihant, and so the problem with Arihant was that I was very new. because I was in my master's. So many of the concepts were not very clear to me. So I bought the book, I started the preparation with it, and I found the book to be very difficult. I mean, much of the concepts I was like कि भाई ये सब पढ़ना पड़ेगा, क्या इसे ही competition कहते हैं, जिसमें आपको ऐसे अजीब अजीब चीजें पढ़नी पड़ेंगी. And then I realized now when I look back at life, when I look back at my entrance exam experience, I realized that UGC net exam preparation is not difficult. And many a times books, content makes it difficult. Lack of information or too much information makes it difficult. So the questions were wrong in Arihant, and a lot of people said no to Truman. So मैंने वो किताब खोली नहीं. जैसे बहुत चीजें गलत है क्योंकि बहुत सारे दोस्त थे अलग अलग किताबों से कर रहे थे. हम लोग कॉमनली शेयर करते थे अपने नॉलेज को एक दूसरे के साथ. एंड then one day one of my friends said, अगर 10 की 10 यूनिट तुम पूरी खत्म कर लेते हो तो नेट क्वालिफाई हो जाएगा तुम्हारा. अब ये बात मेरे दिमाग में अटक गई. मैंने कहा मुझे 10 यूनिट अब खत्म करनी है कैसे. मैंने गोल बना लिया. तो मैंने अपना खुद का चार्ट बनाया, सिलेबस बनाया, टॉपिक्स उसके लिखे, बहुत सारी किताबों से अपने खुद के नोट्स कंपाइल करके बनाए और मैंने जी जान लगाई उसमें. और फाइनली जो है जब एग्जाम क्लियर हुआ मेरा तो मेरे को लगा कि maybe it was not about number of hours, maybe it was not about number of days, number of months. I remember my first preparation I did that. I started in May 26th or 27th of 2018 as far as I remember, and my exam was on July 8th and my PhD exam was on June 25th. So I was preparing for my PhD exam for DU as well as UGC net exam. And at the syllabus for PhD entrance exam is a little deviant from UGC net, though you can cover 60 to 70% of the syllabus by preparing for UGC net. And then while preparing for this, so I'll say I had briefly लगभग सवा महीने के करीब 45 days I can say around, अगर मैं give or take दिनों को लूं. So I had 45 days to prepare for a syllabus that was vast. Paper 1 unit, which I tried to avoid at all cost. So my strategy in this time were two. First strategy was to put all of my syllabus down in a timetable form in these 45 days. Number two, also have another 7 to 8 days left at the end. मैंने इस तरह से बनाया था कि मेरा सिलेबस जो है 7-8 दिन पहले खत्म हो जाए. दूसरा चीज, एनी यूनिट आई लुक्ड एट द सिलेबस और जहां जहां जिस यूनिट को देख के मेरे को डर लगा मैंने उस यूनिट को पहले रखा. तो मैंने यूनिट 2 और यूनिट 3 पहले रखा और मैंने कसम खा ली जब तक ये यूनिट खत्म नहीं करूंगा कोई और यूनिट नहीं पढ़ूंगा, क्योंकि मैं बहुत भागता था रिसर्च और टेस्टिंग और स्टैट्स वाले पार्ट से. पूरे बैचलर्स से मैं भाग रहा था. तो आई थॉट कि अब तो करना है, एग्जाम अगर क्लियर करना है तो इट विल नॉट वर्क दिस वे. आई यूज्ड ऑल ऑफ द रिसोर्सेज अवेलेबल एट माय डिस्पोजल देन. आई कंपाइल्ड माय ओन नोट्स फॉर यूनिट 2 and unit 3, and I still remember there were, I guess, 15 questions that were asked for research, stats and testing part, and I got around 12 to 13 questions right, and that was a win for me at that time. Because research and stats part was so challenging कि मेरे practicals में भी अगर मुझे stats use करना पड़ता था तो I used to take a step back. Why I am saying this, why I am telling you this right now, because again, I never have an aptitude for research. I don't have an aptitude for stats, but I knew I had to prepare them, learn them for the exam. And I did that. Wherever I could not understand, मैंने उसको याद कर लिया. Wherever I could understand, I did that. तो ये सारी की सारी चीजें करके I finally, so it's not about number of days, It's very important to know. It's never about number of days. It's about you and your need to complete the syllabus. Until and unless you complete the syllabus for paper 1 and paper 2, clearing the exam is a challenge. Therefore, no matter the number of days that you are using for your preparation, be it 45 days, be it 3 months, be it 6 months, it will never be enough if you cannot finish the syllabus in that duration. So, prepare your own number of days, the days in which you are comfortable and dedicated to complete the syllabus. दूसरा, जितने लोग उतने विचार. तो अगर आप किसी से कुछ भी पूछेंगे, वो आपको वही बता सकता है जो उसको पता है. आपको बस ये जानना है कि आपकी जिंदगी में क्या बेहतर रहेगा. मैं अगर बोल दूं कि 3 महीने बेस्ट हैं, तो आप 3 महीने नहीं कर पाएंगे प्रिपेयर. किसी को 25 दिन लग जाएंगे, किसी को 35 लग जाएंगे, किसी को पढ़ाई के मूड में आने के लिए 3 महीने चाहिए. Every person is different. Therefore, I would like to conclude this. I took a lot of time in saying this because I found the question to be interesting. Is that focus on completing the syllabus. And whatever days you assign yourself to complete that syllabus, focus of completing that syllabus in that duration. And that would be your best time to prepare for your entrance exam. So I'd like to end the answer here. I hope the question was answered well.
Thank you so much, Amchi. Yes, it was.
Nostalgic.
एंड सरप्राइजिंगली जो चैट बॉक्स में और क्वेश्चंस है उसके भी कुछ आंसर हो गए हैं यहाँ पे, क्योंकि आपने RF एंड स्टैट की बात कर ली, तो काफी अच्छे से आपने आंसर किया. नाउ आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट ऑल आवर अटेंडीज कि अगर आपको क्वेश्चन है तो आप अनम्यूट कर सको. वी हैव गिवन यू द परमिशन एंड वी वुड स्टार्ट विद इशिता भारद्वाज. सो इशिता, कैन यू अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ?
लेकिन वीडियो भी ऑन करनी पड़ेगी, ये है शर्त, शक्ल देखनी है.
Ishita, are you here?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I'm so sorry for the video. Actually, I was not
Completely
prepared.
fine.
So my question is, so I'm currently in my first year of masters, and if I attempt the NET exam for June, so would it be an ideal time for me? Because I would be completing my second sem, first year basically.
Vishal, would you like to take that?
That will be an ambiguous answer, Ishika, that I'm going to give because there is no clarity on that. Whether you can or whether you cannot, but there is a clarity on whether you should or should not. In my opinion, you should definitely give it because
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, please
whether
continue.
whether you will be able to use it or not, that's another matter. That's in the future. Let's not worry about that as of now. As far as giving the or attempting the exam is concerned, to give the exam, uh, we plan for the exam when we are in the final semester or when we are trying to complete it, and then we take 2-3 marks because we don't have anything to do. But it's a good thing. It's a very good thing that you're planning to do it from the first semester. The only thing in my experience that can happen here is that you might get demotivated because you haven't read a lot. And when you go through the papers or when you go through the syllabus, it might seem like a heavy thing, or it might, if you're not able to attempt some question, it also might feel like कि भाई कितना मुश्किल है या मेरे से नहीं हो पा रहा है. Just give yourself that flexibility that you are just preparing preemptively and do it 100%. Give it. Whether you are able to do it or not, I think Amitji can give a better clarity on that. But I think you should take the exam as many times as you can. And if you don't need it, that's fine. But you can give the exam and you should give the exam.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल निशा। एंड मैं इशिका आपसे पूछना चाहूंगा, what is your motivation for giving the exam? Like, why do you want to clear the exam? If I ask you.
Yeah, so being completely honest, I see my career in teaching and as a good source of earning. So
बिल्कुल
these are my
बिल्कुल
two motivations.
बिल्कुल, very honest and very true. And okay, and how did you get into your masters? Like, was it an
So
entrance exam or merit based?
so it was a merit based, and currently I'm in Amity.
जी
I did my graduation from DU.
जी,
So
ठीक है। मेरिट बेस्ड वाले में क्या रहता है इशिका, कि यूजुअली जो बच्चे एंट्रेंस एग्जाम से मास्टर्स में आते हैं, मैं वो चीज बताना चाहता हूँ, मेरिट वर्सेस एंट्रेंस वाली बात मैं बताना चाहता हूँ मास्टर्स के दौरान में। तो जो मास्टर्स का एंट्रेंस एग्जाम जब देते हैं तो बहुत सारी रियलिटीज पता चलती हैं कि आप कहाँ स्टैंड करते हैं। स्टैंड मतलब खुद के कॉन्सेप्ट्स में कहाँ स्टैंड करते हैं। इसीलिए ज्यादातर बच्चे जब मास्टर्स का एंट्रेंस एग्जाम दे के आते हैं, एग्जाम क्लियर होना ना होना सवाल नहीं है, एग्जाम देना जरूरी है। अगर उस समय पे एग्जाम देके आपने एग्जाम दिए हैं, अगर उस टाइम पे मास्टर्स के, तो आप वेल वर्स्ड होंगी इस बात में कि आप कहाँ खड़ी हो। क्योंकि अभी सेकंड सेमेस्टर आने वाला है, तो ज्यादा से ज्यादा 6 महीने पहले दिया होगा, 8 महीने पहले दिया होगा, मे बी 1 साल पहले दिया हो, जो बहुत लंबा समय नहीं है। तो अगर तब आपने एंट्रेंस एग्जाम दिए हैं, सो यू आर वेल सिचुएटेड, यू आर वेल एंकर्ड एज टू वेयर यू स्टैंड। देयरफॉर अगर आपने नहीं दिए हैं अब तक कोई एंट्रेंस एग्जाम, तो एग्जाम दे के देखो इस बार। क्योंकि मैं आपको ये बात जरूर बताना चाहता हूं कि जब तक वहां बैठोगे नहीं और जब तक सवाल देख के गला सूखेगा नहीं, तब तक पता नहीं चलेगा कि प्यास कितनी लगी है। क्योंकि गला तो सूखेगा वहां। तो अपना पहला अटेम्प्ट जो है वो ये अंदाजा लगाने के लिए लो कि कहाँ आप स्टैंड करते हैं। और अगर आप बेस्ट प्रिपरेशन कर सकें आज में और आप हाईली मोटिवेटेड हैं, तो फिर बेस्ट प्रिपेयर करके दो। लेकिन आपकी कोशिश हमेशा यही होनी चाहिए, अगर आप नए हैं, मैं आपसे जरूर कहना चाहूंगा, कोशिश करें पहले 3 अटेम्प्ट में आपका एग्जाम क्लियर हो जाए। कोशिश ये रहनी चाहिए। क्योंकि ये विशाल और हर्षिता दोनों ये बात बहुत अच्छे से आपको बता पाएंगे कि बड़ा चैलेंजिंग होता है एक ही एग्जाम को बार बार देना। दे सकते हैं, बहुत लोग देते हैं, लेकिन आसान नहीं होता, बड़ा संघर्षशील होता है। तो आधे से ज्यादा मेहनत उस संघर्ष में लग जाती है जो प्रिपरेशन में लगनी चाहिए। इसीलिए टारगेट करें कि नेक्स्ट 3 अटेम्प्ट्स के अंदर जितना जल्दी हो सके उतना बढ़िया तरीके से आपका एग्जाम प्रिपेयर हो जाए। अगर एग्जाम एक्सपीरियंस करना है कैसा होता है, तो एक बारी में ही हो जाएगा एक्सपीरियंस। एग्जाम एक्सपीरियंस करने के लिए 10 बार बैठने की जरूरत नहीं है एग्जाम में। एक बार एक्सपीरियंस करें और कोशिश करें कि अगले या उससे अगले में क्लियर हो जाए। कुछ अड़चनें दिक्कतें आती हैं तो कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है, आप दोबारा दीजिए और बार दीजिए, लेकिन कोशिश अपनी इस तरीके की रखिए।
thank you so much, sir. It's a follow-up question. So अगर for example मैं
Thank
second
you, sir.
attempt third 2-3 अटेम्प्ट देती हूँ, और अगर मेरे फाइनल ईयर में मेरा सपोज फॉर जस्ट अ हाइपोथेटिकल सिचुएशन कि मेरा क्लियर हो जाता है, सो इट टेक्स अबाउट 4 to 5 months रिजल्ट्स आने में, तो वो जो गैप पीरियड होगा उसको कैसे बेनिफिशियल बना सकते हैं?
मैं तो कहता हूँ कुछ बेनिफिशियल बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है उस पीरियड को। बेनिफिशियल तो अपने आप में होगा, क्योंकि उस टाइम पे आप अपने आप ही बहुत सारे एग्जाम्स दे रहे होंगे मास्टर्स के बाद। आपको पता नहीं होगा पर आप दे रहे होंगे। मैंने यही चीज देखी है कि अगले 4-5 महीने बहुत बच्चे मास्टर्स के बाद में एग्जाम देने में व्यस्त होते हैं। वो सवाल का जवाब आपको अपने आप मिलेगा तब कि इस समय में मुझे कुछ करने की जरूरत है या नहीं है, और है तो क्या। क्योंकि वो आज में जवाब देना मुझे नहीं लगता कि वो बहुत जरूरी बैठेगा ईशिका, आई एम वेरी श्योर कि वो जवाब आप खुद को दे पाएंगी उस समय के अंदर, श्योर हूँ इस बात को लेकर।
थैंक यू सर।
और किसी का कोई सवाल अनम्यूट कर सकता है?
And I think we have Nishita who has asked about notes. So Nishita, if you want to put your question. अगर आप
कोई तो वीडियो ऑन करो, कोई वीडियो ऑन नहीं करेगा क्या?
Nishita, are you here? Otherwise, we can also go to Shreyoshi. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right.
Yes, finally somebody with the video on. Hello, how are you? ऐसे नहीं चलेगा कि वीडियो ऑन कर लिए तो बोलोगे नहीं, आप बोलना भी पड़ेगा। नेटवर्क का इशू आ रहा है, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
सर अभी भी नहीं आ रही आवाज?
अब आ रही है, बढ़िया आ रही है एकदम, वीडियो ऑडियो दोनों बढ़िया।
I'm good. Sir, I already asked my question regarding preparation and you answered it very well. But the one challenge that I would like to confess here and I would like to know your opinion is that I am currently in my final semester of my master's. So half of my day, like my entire day goes into attending classes till evening and then handling my research project. So, and again, I target to clear JRF in first attempt. So I find it very unrealistic sometimes. So how can I manage this, like attending regular college with preparation? Like, what should be my strategy? What would you like to suggest here?
बिल्कुल, मिल्सी नाम है आपका?
जी सर।
जी मिल्सी, देखिए सबसे मजेदार चीज जो होती है प्रिपरेशन के दौरान वो ये होती है कि आपको एक डिसिप्लिन्ड शेड्यूल अपने आप मिल रहा है। मैं क्लासेस का होना, रेगुलर चलना और प्रोजेक्ट का काम होना, मैं इसको कभी चैलेंजिंग नहीं मानता। मैं तो कहता हूँ नेचुरली आपको एक टाइम टेबल मिल गया। आप खाली पड़े रहते, मान लीजिए आप खाली पड़े रहते, तब आपको बड़ी मेहनत लगती कि मैं टाइम टेबल कैसे बनाऊं। whatever you are learning right now, whether it is in the syllabus or not, it will help you in your exam, believe me, automatically। आप रिसर्च में जो भी कुछ कर रही हैं, मान लीजिए आपकी डिसर्टेशन का पार्ट है, प्रैक्टिकल का पार्ट है, अगर कोई टूल यूज कर रही हैं, कोई स्टेप ले रही हैं, रीड अबाउट इट, नो अबाउट इट। फॉर एग्जाम्पल मान लीजिए आप लिटरेचर रिव्यू कर रही हैं, अब थोड़ा पढ़ भी लीजिए लिटरेचर रिव्यू के बारे में, आपकी प्रिपरेशन का पार्ट बन जाएगा। मान लीजिए आप रिग्रेशन लगा रही हैं, कोरिलेशन लगा रही हैं, कोरिलेशन तो हर कोई लगा रहा है आजकल, मान लो कोरिलेशन लगा रही है, तो अगर पता है थोड़ा पढ़ लो उसके बारे में, कोरिलेशन क्या होता है, प्लस माइनस का क्या मतलब है, कौन सा मेथड लगाया, क्यों लगाया, ये सारी चीजें आपकी प्रिपरेशन का पार्ट हो गया। और हर रोज 1 घंटा निकाल लो, सोने से पहले आधा घंटा, उठने के बाद आधा घंटा, और आपकी 1 घंटे की प्रिपरेशन अपने आप टाइम हो जाएगी। और ये 1 घंटे की प्रिपरेशन अपने आप, ये 1 घंटा बढ़ेगा भी आपका जब आप ये आधा आधा घंटा इस शेड्यूल में डाल देंगे। जिस दिन आप इस शेड्यूल में क्योंकि ये बूस्ट है आपका, जो आसपास चीजें घट रही हैं, ये अपने आप आपको स्पेस देगा। आपका देखो माइंडसेट आपको एकेडमिक रख रहा है ये सारी चीजें। तो मास्टर्स के दौरान में प्रिपरेशन तो मैं मानता हूँ बेस्ट प्रिपरेशन हो सकती है। काफी लोग नहीं मानते ये चीज, मैं मानता हूँ, क्योंकि ये ऑटोमेटिक टाइम टेबल है, ऑटोमेटिक शेड्यूल है, ऑटोमेटिक डिसिप्लिन आपको एक मिल रहा है। तो बस उसमें कुछ समय बीच में डाल दो वैसे वाली चीज, तो आई थिंक वो अच्छा तरीका हो सकता है। सो यू कैन यूज दिस, और ये बहुत अच्छे से आप जीआरएफ क्रैक कर सकती हैं फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट में इस दौरान में। बस आपको एक चीज पे ध्यान बहुत जरूरी देना पड़ेगा, आपके मास्टर्स में आपका स्कोर का क्या मतलब है। Like, are you preparing to score high or are you preparing to learn? हर कोई चाहता है अच्छा स्कोर हो। एक बच्चा ऐसा जरूर होता है, 2-3 बच्चे कहूंगा, एक बच्चा नहीं, 2-3 बच्चे ऐसे होते हैं जो सोचते हैं मुझे टॉप करना है मेरा मास्टर। उनके लिए थोड़ा चैलेंज हो सकता है नेट का प्रिपरेशन, क्योंकि वो चाह के भी उस तरफ समय नहीं दे पाएंगे। दिमाग बार बार उन्हें क्लास के कंटेंट पे लेके आएगा। बट इफ यू आर somebody who's satisfied with a 70 to 80% स्कोर, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। मैं तो ये कहता हूँ सभी बच्चों को कि सब यही कोशिश करें, 70 से 80 के मार्जिन में रखें। स्कोर अच्छा स्कोर रहता है और उसी मार्जिन में आप ये वाला शेड्यूल फॉलो कर पाएंगे। लेकिन आप 80 प्लस अगर टारगेट कर रहे हैं तो इस शेड्यूल को फॉलो करना चैलेंजिंग हो सकता है। उस चीज पे थोड़ा आपको क्लैरिटी लेना पड़ेगा। एंड इट विल बी, आई थिंक, बहुत आसानी से हो सकता है। थोड़ा थोड़ा बस बीच में कुछ ना कुछ डाल के रहे। एक सवाल मेरे ख्याल से जब ईशिका पूछ रही थी, या मेरे ख्याल से जब हर्षिता पीछे कुछ कमेंट का बता रही थी शायद, तो कोई कह रहा था कि जिंदगी पॉज वाली चीज, ये भ्रम है आदमी का कि जिंदगी पॉज हो सकती है। नहीं हो सकती। मेरा रूममेट था, वो जब प्रिपेयर करता था, जब भी वो प्रिपेयर करना शुरू करता था, सारे व्हाट्सएप डिलीट कर दिया करता था, सारे टेलीग्राम, फेसबुक से लॉग आउट कर दिया करता था, इंस्टाग्राम की आईडी डिलीट कर दिया करता था, सब कुछ। और इतना फोकस होके पढ़ता था कि 15 दिन के बाद में वो चुप चुप रहने लगता था। क्योंकि दिमाग को क्या एनर्जी जा रही है? बहुत सिंपल सी चीज, क्या एनर्जी जा रही है? दिमाग की एनर्जी कहाँ जा रही है आपकी? ध्यान नहीं देना इंस्टाग्राम पे, ध्यान नहीं देना फेसबुक पे, ध्यान नहीं देना ये चीज पे। मैंने अब देखो एक दूसरी स्ट्रैटेजी अपनाई। मेरा काम है एनर्जी कंजर्व करना, ठीक है? मैं कहीं पे आलतू फालतू एनर्जी देना मुझे पसंद नहीं करता ज्यादा। उससे ज्यादा मुझे बढ़िया लगता है सोना। क्या आराम की चीज है। आप एनर्जी मत वेस्ट करिए, आप सो जाइए, वो ज्यादा अच्छा है। अब मैं क्या करता हूँ, मैंने नेचुरली ऑब्जर्व करा अपना एक पैटर्न, दैट मैं नेचुरली इंस्टाग्राम ज्यादा यूज करने लगा। मैंने आपसे कुछ टाइम पहले ऑब्जर्व किया था ये। तो मैंने देखा, मैं नेचुरली कुछ भी करता हूँ, फोन जब भी खोलता हूँ इंस्टाग्राम पे चला जाता है हाथ, और अपने आप 2 मिनट देखता हूँ, पता चलता है 20 मिनट हो गए। कुछ देर बाद ऐसे ऐसे लोगों के फोटो देख रहा हूँ जो मुझे पता ही नहीं कौन है। तो ये नेचुरल है होना। तो व्हाट आई डिड वाज, आई अनफॉलोड एवरीवन वन डे, एंड देन आई फॉलोड ऑल द पेजेस जो मेरा एम है अगला उससे रिलेटेड। करंटली मैंने इतने लोगों को फॉलो किया हुआ है, मैं जब भी खोलता हूँ या तो मैं सीखने को कुछ मिलता है या बोर होकर रख देता हूँ, क्योंकि ऐसे पेज बोर भी कर देता है आपको। पर इंस्टाग्राम खोलना बंद नहीं हुआ। लेकिन आज जब मैं इतने टाइम बाद देखता हूँ तो इंस्टाग्राम पे भी कम ध्यान जाता है। मैंने कभी एनर्जी लगाई नहीं इस चीज पे कि मैं डिलीट कर दूं इंस्टाग्राम। मैंने एनर्जी कहाँ लगाई कि सारे अनफॉलो करके एक बार, और सारे काम के पेज, मैंने सारे एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप के पेज, की साइकोलॉजी के पेज है, सब फॉलो कर लिए। ऐसा व्यक्ति जो कुछ लर्निंग दे रहा है मैंने सबको फॉलो कर लिया। स्टॉक से रिलेटेड, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप से रिलेटेड, साइकोलॉजी से रिलेटेड सब पेजों पे ये जानकारियां भरी रहती है। जब भी खोलता हूँ मन करता है कुछ सीखने को मिलता है। तो आप एक, मतलब आपका तरीका अपना होना चाहिए कि आप किस तरीके से लाइफ को पॉज ना करें, लेकिन प्ले में अपना खुद का गाना लगा सके। क्योंकि आप पॉज नहीं कर सकते, ये भ्रम है आपका। कितने डियर वंस लोगों ने इस पैंडेमिक के दौरान में खोए हैं। क्या जिंदगी रुक गई किसी की? नहीं रुकती है, ये भ्रम है आदमी का। मेरे इतने, माय वेरी क्लोज चाचा जी, वी लॉस्ट इन देयर फैमिली, यू नो, ही वाज ब्लेस्ड बाय, उनके वाइफ है और एक छोटे बच्चे हैं 2। और बट दे कैन नॉट स्टॉप, दे कैन नॉट पॉज। तो ये भ्रम है कि आप पॉज कर सकते हैं। आपको बस चैनलाइज करना पड़ेगा सो दैट ट्यून आपके पसंद की हो। जैसे शादी में मैं जाता हूँ तो नाचूंगा ही, लेकिन गाना मेरी पसंद का हो तो मजा आ जाएगा। तो ये आप लोगों को थोड़ा उस चीज का ध्यान देना पड़ेगा दैट यू हैव टू सेट योर ओन ट्यून।
थैंक यू अमित जी, आपने इसमें मतलब ब्यूटीफुली आंसर किया है ना, क्योंकि कुछ भी अनरियलिस्टिक नहीं लगा। यूजुअली जब एडवाइस मांगो किसी से तो यही बोलते हैं कि अपनी लाइफ को एंटायरली अलग कर दो। एग्जाम में भी मतलब अगर प्रिपेयर करना तो पूरी बाहरी दुनिया से अलग हो जाओ। तो आई थिंक द वे दैट यू एक्सप्लेन, लाइक इट इज ऑल्सो optimistic for all the aspirants that you don't have to pause the other areas because they are equally important. तो ऐसा ब्रेक नहीं लेना, बट वहीं पे रह के प्रिपेयर करना है. सो थैंक यू
और
सो
इसी
मच.
में गुरशील अगर एक अलाउ करो तो मैं एक चीज और ऐड करना चाहूंगा. अ, मैं जब अपनी नेट की प्रिपरेशन कर रहा था, नेट की और पीएचडी की प्रिपरेशन कर रहा था, तो मेरे पास लगभग लगभग 40 के करीब दिन थे. और मिड जून में, जून की स्टार्टिंग में मैंने मई 27-26 के आसपास प्रिपरेशन शुरू करी. और मिड जून के आसपास मेरी सुपरवाइजर का कॉल आया that there is a very good internship opportunity and I think you must do it. तो मेरे को लगा करना चाहिए. मेरे को लगा यार, फिर मुझे ये भी लगा मैं कैसे करूंगा, मैं तो तैयारी कर रहा हूँ एग्जाम की. फिर मैंने क्या करा, मैंने उनकी बात मान ली, मैं गया और मैंने ज्वाइन कर लिया इंटर्नशिप. मेरे इंटर्नशिप में आने जाने में मुझे 4 घंटे लगते थे और मेरे दिन का समय सब बिगड़ गया. एंड दिस इज लगभग लगभग पीएचडी के एग्जाम के बाद का बता रहा हूँ. मैंने जब ज्वाइन किया था तो लगभग लगभग मैंने शायद 26-27 में ज्वाइन किया था. 8 तारीख को पेपर था मेरा नेट का, पीएचडी का पेपर हो चुका था. ज्वाइन कर लिया था मैंने. सुबह 2 घंटे जाने में लगते थे, रात को 2 घंटे आने में लगते थे और 12-1 बजे आता था. अब मैं या तो परेशान हो सकता हूँ, मेरे को एक साधारण सी बात बता रहा हूँ जो हो सकता है, या तो मैं परेशान हो सकता था और मैं हुआ भी. मैंने कहा प्रिपेयर कैसे करूंगा, और ये भी कहना अच्छा नहीं लगता मैम को या मेरे जो वहां पे मैं जॉब कर रहा हूँ कि मैंने कहा छोड़ दूंगा, नहीं कर पाऊंगा. सो व्हाट आई स्टार्टेड डूइंग वाज, मैं मेट्रो से जाता था और मेट्रो मेरे को 1.5 घंटा लग जाया करता था. मैं फोन पे यूट्यूब पे प्लेलिस्ट बनाना शुरू कर दिया और उनको वीडियोस को डाउनलोड कर दिया करता था, सारे के सारे यूनिट्स की. मान लो मैंने सारे यूट्यूब से ढूंढ लिया कि इस यूनिट में 20 टॉपिक है और ये 20 की मैंने वीडियोस ढूंढ ली रात भर में. वो वीडियोस डाउनलोड कर ली और मेट्रो में वो बीच वाले जंक्शन पे, वो बीच वाला जंक्शन क्या, वो जंक्शन थोड़ी कहते हैं उसे, जो 2 मेट्रो जुड़ जाती हैं वहां पे, और वहां पे जाके बैठ जाया करता था. ऑल्दो बैठना अलाउ नहीं करते वो लोग, और पिट लेंगे कोई बात नहीं. तो मैं बैठ जाया करता था वहां पे और बैठ के मैं वीडियोस देखता रहता था. आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि मैं कुछ संघर्ष वंघर्ष ये सब नहीं बता रहा, कितना संघर्ष. मैं एक बात आपको बता रहा हूँ कि हाउ टू वर्क ऑन योर माइंडसेट. बिकॉज चैलेंजेस भी आएंगे, दोस्त भी बुलाएंगे, और दोस्त नहीं बुलाएंगे, सबको छोड़ दोगे तो रिश्तेदार आएंगे, और वो अगर आ गए तो आपके मम्मी पापा भी उन्हें भगा नहीं पाएंगे और आपको उनके पास भी जाना पड़ेगा, बैठना भी पड़ेगा. व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज देयर विल बी डिस्ट्रैक्शन, देयर विल बी स्पेसेस वेयर यू माइट नॉट बी एबल टू प्रिपेयर वेल, बट इट इज ऑन यू इन दैट सिचुएशन हाउ टू मेक इट यूजफुल. तो वो अगर वेस्टफुल एक सिचुएशन है तो उसको रिसाइकल आपको करना पड़ेगा. इसीलिए इस तरीके का माइंडसेट होना की है आज के समय में. आप कितने ही जॉब्स में चले जाइए, दे आर ऑलवेज लुकिंग फॉर वन की एस्पेक्ट. आप अभी भी सर्च करिएगा, मोस्ट डिमांडिंग 2021 सॉफ्ट स्किल, मोस्ट डिमांडिंग 2022 स्किल टुडे, एंड एवरीबडी इज लुकिंग फॉर ग्रोथ माइंडसेट. ग्रोथ माइंडसेट डज नॉट मीन कि कुछ नया पैदा करना है. इट मीन्स लुकिंग एट सिचुएशन इन अ वे which brings growth rather than that stagnates it. उसमें यही कहना चाह रहा था.
Thank you, sir. That was very insightful. Our last question for the day today, Vishal sir, I would request you to answer this question. एक बहुत prominent question है chat में कि is it necessary to make notes? I think it is one of our most favorite questions. But sir, please, if you can kindly answer this, is it absolutely necessary to make notes, and any books that you would like to recommend? So I would like you to emphasize on the note making part.
जी, so I think I'll explain why it is important, and Anamit can come in how to make notes. I'll share my inputs here. Um, Note, see, when you start preparation, and we had a small discussion of whether our life would stop or not. So I would like to rephrase the question in a bit. Think about it that isn't this exam a part of your life, right? Is it important enough to focus on that? It is, yes. Then why not focus on it? Make a part of your life higher in priority. That's all you need to do. Your life is not stopping. It's not like कि और कुछ नहीं करना है. It's just that you need to prioritize something. Now, how do you prioritize something? You start doing more and more things related to it, right? Uh, it will happen in every facet of life. You're not just students. You have. We also talked about discipline, but when either you work in some years, either you shift into a professional working life, or either you shift to a married life, or maybe you shift to another place. In any way, um, there will be certain part of your life which will become less prioritized, and there will be some part that will become more prioritized. So you just need to do more things related to it. Whether you have discussions around those things, make a club in your class, you listen to more videos, you try to do more test papers, you listen to more TEDx videos or something like that. You start looking for resources and uh, sharing that with other people. Or a lot of things are there that you can do. It's just that you prioritize it and make it an important thing. Other things you will figure out. Focus your energy, what needs to be done. Other things you will figure out. Coming from here, now note is a very important part of your preparation. Not even 0.1% doubt. What you need to do is, I totally believe. I'm just sharing what I know that works. I won't share, but I'm not experimented. I don't know their results. But one thing I know is that note making works. You need to make notes and how to make notes, not detailed notes. What you need to do is you have all the learnings. You need to concise it. You need to make a structure of it. You know the history of psychology. You know the biopsychology parts, everything. If you don't have new charts, either you are pursuing your masters, you cannot use the previous charts from your graduation. Don't do that. I will totally suggest 100% that you make everything new. If you are reading, let's say if you're reading cognitive psychology for 1 week, you should have the flow charts, you should have the key topics, or in any way you structure the content. And that needs to be done. If you're not doing that, I think there is one strategy or there is one key element that you are missing on. For sure. It's my personal experience. Yes, definitely. Because I think I have not read for net or any entrance exam in my life a lot. In school I did, but after not that. So only thing that has helped me is this structure of the content. You need to understand one important thing related to it is this. It's not an essay exam. It's not like you have to write a thesis. It's an MCQ based exam. Your strategy should be aligned to that. There is no point in reading a lot of books, इतनी मोटी मोटी किताबें, if you cannot if you cannot remember the key headings, key elements of it. You need to do that only. Explanation you will remember. You don't have to rewrite them. You only need to structure the key headings, the names, the titles, the flow charts, what are the divisions, what are the models. That's it. You do that, and I think these notes you will see will not help you only in the net preparation, but also what you do after net or in your PhD. You will see that because this is one thing I'm missing right now. I hope that I had made more such structured content, not only based on the master's syllabus or net syllabus, but beyond that too. If I had done that, I would have a lot of knowledge by now, but I don't. I have some of the knowledge. So this is one thing. When you structure the notes or the content in this way, you will see what you know, you will see what you don't know. And when you will be trying for MCQs, it will be very easy for you to come back and relocate your learnings. Uh, I think that was the question, Asuraji, or there was a second part to it.
Yes, absolutely, sir. That was the main question, that is it necessary to make notes? So I think you answered that very well. Also, some of the participants had queries about the books, but I think we covered that holistically as to there is no one particular book which will have answers to all of the questions. Of course, you will need to read from different resources, and after the session, we will be
We will
sharing
provide
a
the
book list.
recommendations. Amit and I'll share the book list,
Yes,
and that can be shared with the students, I guess.
yes.
बिल्कुल.
So we would just like to thank our wonderful audience for today for being so patient and so kind and supporting us in the session. And also a very special thank you to Vishal sir and to Amit sir for answering all of our questions. I hope that it benefited all of us. And just thank you so much for being here and more further queries. Thank you to you all.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, sir.
And if you guys have some questions which were unanswered during this webinar, then don't worry, you can always text us and we'll try to resolve them. And both Amit sir as well as Vishal sir would be more than happy to take them up. So just let us know whatever you want to know if it was unanswered today. And we'll also be posting the recording for this session on YouTube for those of you who joined late. So you can access that. And if you have any feedback to give, you can use the chat box to do so. Thank you, everyone.